Hallo liebe Techies, ich bin hier Backstage bei Star Wars The Old Republic. Neben mir steht von Bioware Emmanuel Lusinchi und er wird mir ein paar Fragen zum kommenden MMORPG The Old Republic beantworten. Ja. First question, let's start with a hello, Emmanuel. Tell me what you do for Bioware and what is your job, what do you do? What did you want to do and not achieve it?
Okay, alright, so I'm the associate lead designer. So what I do most of the time, I try to identify risk to the design department in general. So I try to keep a very global view of everything happening in design and programming and art. And early on in the project was more like issue with tools or issue with design, like we designed that, it's not really fun, let's change it. Recently, because we have so much really great feedback coming up from our players that sometimes have been playing for the game for a long amount of time, sometimes a lot of levels and so on, we have really this important information, and if it's a majority of players think that this needs to change, part of my job is figuring out, well, can we do that? Is there a good way to do it? So incorporating feedback is a lot of things I do, but also if we see a flaw in the game that we need to fix, just figuring it out how we're going to do it. That's in short.
All right. So you say it's quite important to listen to the community, beta testers and stuff. The question would be, doesn't that make it harder to create an MMO that is more different than like the other big ones?
That's a good point. I mean, first you say community beta tester. People that have not played the game will listen because sometimes just on the screenshots they can say, oh, that mount looked terrible. Okay, we're like, oh, if the entire community thinks so, maybe we have a problem, and then maybe we need to fix it. But we value feedback based on how long you've been playing, essentially, which is normal because you have a better view as a player of how the game is. But having feedback doesn't mean we just do whatever people ask for, right? In general, it's very rare that we have a feedback we've never thought before, like, wow, that's completely new. It's usually we have a priority of things we want in the game and that are not there yet or not to the point we want. And sometimes we do change priority, like, wow, people really care about this and not much about that, so switch it. Again, very, very rare we completely change our mind on something. And it's more, a lot of it is validating our design, which is great. When people say we love our flashpoint, you're like, ooh, flashpoints are working, moving on, or we lack multiplayer conversation, which is kind of a new system, not seen anywhere else. And there's a certain loss of control part of it. So that was a big risk. Like, how are people going to react? Do they hate it? Turn out they usually like it. So again, that's great. But there's a few times where, again, we have such overwhelming feedback that we're like, well, let's talk about that. Let's at least discuss it and see what do we think.
And what do you think? How far away at this point is the Old Republic away from what you thought it would be today when you started doing it?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
So you started with an idea of how Star Wars: The Old Republic should be, or would be like.
Very good point. Yeah. It's strangely close.
All right.
Because
good answer.
No, it's a bit, scary because in our mind, like years ago, and I won't say exactly how long, but basically there was three of us: was James Soden and Daniel Erickson and myself, designing this game. Like, wow, what is this game going to be about? And straight away, what I did was it's going to be a massively multiplayer game, an MMO, but with every one of your action is framed in a story, so you know why you're doing things, you care about doing those things, right? And having this overarching story for each characters and something personal for you to care about. And our take was from when you finish KOTOR, Knights of the Old Republic on the Xbox. Years later, you still remember what choice you made and how you finished that fight, but mostly like what did you do to your companions, which one did you take with you. Very few people remember what levels they were. And so that's a very interesting thing because people care more about their choice than in the end about their stats. It's important, but it's not everything. So that's what we wanted to bring. and that's pretty much how it plays, and very happy with that. Now there are parts of the game that we did not have, I mean, where we had later addition to the teams that really helped us, like the operations. Definitely a lot of our, ex-Mythic employee or Mythic employee have been helping us a lot, showing us what works and what doesn't work, and it feels really well integrated with the game. There's this story flavor to it, and there's this really Star Wars flavor, so it works. But it's not something that we had in mind from the beginning, or we know exactly how this part of the game is going to work. But every new design lead that joins the teams has really brought with him something new and added. But the base idea of the game pretty much is exactly as designed, so that's good.
So development is still in progress, and the closed beta is in progress too.
Development is always going to be in progress, which is great about this kind of games. So there's no cut-off day thing, no more. But the majority of the operation is right now is Polish, which for Bioware is what makes the difference between an OK game and a Bioware quality game. And there are a lot of games like that in the industry, it's just not us, but all those companies have the same focus on this need to have this quality. No other way to say it. So a lot of that is spent, and that just take times and efforts and repetition, because you implement it, then you play it, and then you replay it, and it just take times, right? But there's very little risk to it. It's just you need time to do it. So we're spending time on Polish, and then we are paying very close attention to everything else, because an MMO is just not missions and character levels and character abilities. Everything else, it's a customer service. It's a bandwidth requirement. It's the way you are going to have a credit card, do things for subscribing and whatever. So this all need to be ready at the same times and be tested and all that stuff. So a lot of time and effort is spent on making sure the game is going to launch well.
So what do you think, when will the open beta start? And all the fans would like to know the final release date.
Yeah, so open beta, I think we already mentioned, we don't foresee wanting to do that. We have very large beta, which is nearly the same thing, but we retain an element of control so that we actually can learn useful things from this beta, because we know what machine you have. We know, we can guide people towards certain servers, certain types. So we are doing this beta not just for fun or people to try the game, but just to really learn a lot of things so that the launch can be really good, right? So it's a tool for us. So retaining controls, little bit of control, is better than just having everybody can come in. That's all.
Yeah, right. We're almost done. Yeah, two more more personal questions. The first one is, which is your favorite Star Wars movie?
Oh gosh, I know most people.
Please do not tell me you are no Star Wars fan.
I am a big Star Wars fan, but the first movie, the very first movie, not what they call 4, but what for me was the only Star Wars, because I didn't know there was going to be a sequel. Is a game that changed me as a 7-year-old, boy that saw it on a big screen, like, oh, lightsaber is like a sword but with light and it cut anything. So cool. So even though when I watch it now, I don't have the same effect, but it's the one that changed me the most. And everything else was good, but nothing was as game-changing or genre-changing, because before that science fiction was very different. And so the intro is so much. So the very first movie, the original.
Last question, a very short one. Sith or Jedi?
What do you mean, the people that I like to kill? Or I prefer playing the Republic, because some of the Sith classes, I mean the Empire, are super fun to play, and it's nice to be evil and so on. But I find a lot of the moral choice to be very interesting on the Republic side, and so as a general, it's it's a preference, but it's good to be good sometimes. So Republic.
All right. Thanks for the interview, and may the Force be with you. Okay. Thanks, Emmanuel.
Thank you. Thank you.